It's been 1 month since Vladimir Putin decided to invade Ukraine. Thousands of civilians have been dead, and President Zelinski of Ukraine today described it as a month of the darkest suffering. Heads of state of NATO countries met in Brussels today and issued a statement where they said that they condemn Russia's invasion in the strongest possible terms, also saying that Russia's war against Ukraine has shattered peace in Europe and caused enormous human suffering and destruction. They called on President Putin to immediately stop the war and withdraw military forces from Ukraine. Well, we're joined from Kyiv by Natalia Lutsenko, the chief of the international desk at ICTV. Natalia, thanks for joining us. 1 month into this invasion by Russia, how is Ukrainian resistance really holding up to the Russians?
Good evening, everyone. Actually, yeah, you're saying 1 month, but for us, I think it was like one huge day, long, horrible day. When you don't calculate what day of the week it is. You don't know what day of the month it is, but you definitely know what day of the war it is. Behind me, maybe you don't see a clear sky and it's fog outside, but that's the result of how Ukrainian forces are trying to push back Russian forces from Irpin and Bucha. So today, actually, they succeeded, and Russian army get a step back to 30 kilometers from Kyiv, which is good. But it's quite bombing every day since morning and during the night. So, but I mean, Ukrainian forces are still resisting, especially in the capital of Ukraine.
Right. And in terms of the humanitarian costs of this war, and we heard President Zelensky today also talking about this as being the darkest month. What is the toll that this is taking on people?
Well, yeah, I mean, definitely he was talking about the darkest times for the eastern and south cities of Ukraine. That's Mariupol, Kharkiv, Kherson, Chernigiv. For instance, in Mariupol, we have like humanitarian crisis, completely unbelievable in 21st century. 90% of the city have been destroyed, and people are trying to evacuate, but Russians are fleeing people there. Through the loudspeaker, they announcing that their evacuation to Ukraine, but basically they evacuating people to Russia. And then when people are appearing in Russia, they don't know what to do next.
Natalia, thanks very much for that update. And as we were talking about the human costs of this war, Ukraine says that more than 100 children have been killed as a result of Russia's military action, and thousands of civilians have lost their lives.
At least 128 children killed. Thousands of civilians buried in their own homes. Over 1 crore Ukrainians forced to flee for refuge. A month into Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the human cost of the war leading to the resounding defeat of a Russian draft resolution at the United Nations that acknowledged Ukraine's humanitarian needs but completely omitted the Russian invasion, which is causing the crisis.
The draft resolution has...
India was among the 13 members that abstained from voting, along with the United States, which says that Russia has committed war crimes, and the United Kingdom.
It really is unconscionable that Russia would have the audacity to put forward a resolution asking the international community to solve a humanitarian crisis that Russia alone created.
Their resolution called for respect for international humanitarian law, but overlooked the fact that they are committing war crimes. Their resolution called for the protection of women and children, but overlooked the fact that they had bombed the hospital in Mariupol and the theatre in Mariupol.
The only country to support Russia was China. This diplomatic setback for Russia coming ahead of the key NATO and G7 summits where Ukraine hopes for more solid support from the international community.
Ми знаємо, що вони працюють з деякими партнерами. Ми знаємо, що вони хочуть загасити цю тему боротьби проти війни. Але загасити потрібно війну. На цих 3 самітах буде наша позиція, міцна позиція. На цих 3 самітах ми побачимо, хто друг, хто партнер, а хто продався і зрадив.
In Russia, even the resignation of Putin's top advisor, leaving the Russian leader unfazed on the surface. With stock market trading in the country resuming after a month, the benchmark index climbing 11%. Putin, meanwhile, now seeking payments only in rubles for gas sold to unfriendly nations.
Мною принято решение в самое короткое время реализовать комплекс мер по переводу оплаты. Начнем с этого, с нашего природного газа, переводу оплаты нашего природного газа, поставляемого в так называемые недружественные страны, за российские рубли.
But a month into the invasion, Russia, which has been one of the strongest armies in the world, has failed to capture any major territories. Leading to a key question, has Vladimir Putin miscalculated badly? Bureau Report, NDTV.